sexiness of the show and the intrigue of the show is the fact that these characters are so layered and people really relate to them.
I got a lot of eye rolls. That was a constant with Meghan. Just a lot of rolling her eyes at me like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Because you know the royal family would have quite happily had Meghan continue to act in projects. Now, look, I'm sure they wouldn't have been particularly keen on some of the, shall we say, X-rated scenes, the sex scenes that used to appear in Suits. However, even in the last series of Suits, Meghan was getting the scripts sent by the producers to the palace so that they could just make sure that there was nothing that might embarrass the royal family.
Prince Harry once admitted he regretted watching Meghan Markle's scenes. And now one of her former co-stars is spilling what she was really like behind the cameras. And let's just say, the story we're hearing now, it doesn't exactly match the flawless public image we've all seen.
It's the sort of thing that wherever Meghan is, if she's ever read that, she's got, Patrick, give me a break.
Oh, has she
I
never?
got a lot of eye rolls. That was a constant with Meghan. Just a lot of rolling her eyes at me like, oh my God, what are you doing?
I love that he admits it. That to me is such not, I guess trying to be like nice and honest, but that's exactly what I would imagine Meghan Markle's like all the time. Oh God, don't do that. Oh God, why are you saying that? Oh God, why is this happening? Oh, and it's like, he can't take it back. He's acknowledging a truth, which I don't even think he meant to be shady, but it comes across so shady to actually hear someone who genuinely is like nice of her.
As if she's ever read that, she's got, Patrick, give me a break.
Oh, has she never?
I got a lot of eye rolls. That was a constant with Meghan. Just a lot of rolling her eyes at me like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Suddenly, two very different narratives are colliding. On one side, you've got her high-profile acting role that made waves in the media. On the other, Patrick J. Adams claims that working with Meghan meant dealing with endless eye rolls on set. Put these together, and suddenly the picture people have in their minds starts looking very different.
How did you get the job?
Just went in and auditioned for it. I think Patrick was the first one who was cast. And so I'd gone and auditioned. I thought it was one of the worst auditions I had ever done and didn't realize that behind closed doors they disagreed with me on that fact and brought me back to test for it. I tested with Patrick.
Here's what's turning heads right now. Patrick didn't just drop a casual comment. He went deep into their dynamic on set, and one detail stood out immediately. Eye rolls were a constant, not once in a while, not rare, constant. He even mimicked her saying, Patrick, give me a break, giving fans an instant mental snapshot of that sharp, dismissive energy that doesn't exactly scream easygoing co-star.
And I think there are some issues with some of the other cast members around Meghan. They haven't really heard from her since the wedding because she's distanced herself from them. And I just don't know that this is going to be an up for her, but it's the one way.
And that's what makes this juicy. Details like that stick for a reason. People don't remember boring, neutral experiences. They remember moments that leave an impression. So now the question is, was this playful back and forth, or a subtle vibe that never really got addressed? At the same time, Patrick is rethinking something that once seemed harmless, his Instagram bio.
Her show was coming out, and I had said on my Instagram, where I say stupid shit, that, you know, I am worried for Meghan because, you know, you've been protective over her in the past.
What she's gone through is insane.
Right. So I'm one of those people that's like, enough, you know, leave her alone. So I said, I'm worried this trailer will have people at her throat again. And she wrote me a note saying, basically, thank you for being afraid for me, but don't be. Like, it'll be fine.
That's what the note said?
Yeah.
The one where he jokes, the other guy from that show that you're watching on that app because that girl married that prince. It used to feel light and funny. Now, he's considering taking it down completely, and that shift alone makes people pause. Why now? Why, after all these years, feel the need to step back even a little? It's not like he's criticizing her. In fact, he's often supportive, saying what she's gone through is insane, showing he knows the pressure she's faced.
Are you single?
I am not. I am not married, but not single.
You're start with me again.
I'm not married, but I'm not single. Right? That's the matter.
I
have a girlfriend, but we're not married.
I see.
She's on another television program.
So the two of you are not involved off the show?
No.
No.
That would never work.
So why is there so much chemistry here?
I think because we knew each
I'm
other
sensing
early
something.
on. You're picking up on something.
Well, I think TV sees us a certain way, right? We'd done this show for ABC years ago, and very similarly, my character was polished, and he played this sort of rough around the edges guy. Suits, same sort of thing, so.
But here's the twist. He's also sharing details that don't exactly polish her image. That mix, support and candid recollections, creates this weird gray area where people aren't sure what to believe. Then there's their current relationship, or more accurately, the distance between them. He admits they don't really talk much anymore, explaining she has a very different life. Polite on the surface, but let's be real. Going from on-screen partners for years to barely speaking? That's serious distance, and it usually doesn't happen without a reason. And yet, even here, there's a twist.
Like the sexiness of the show and the intrigue of the show is the fact that these characters are so layered and people really relate to them. They know someone or they want to know someone like they see on that show. So I think that's what brings people back. And then the New York of it all is pretty enticing.
Meghan did reach out when he launched his podcast, sending a supportive message and genuinely offering help. That adds another layer. So now the big question, which version is real? The supportive friend behind the scenes, or the co-star rolling her eyes on set? The mystery continues. But just when you think this story is all about personality, it takes a sharp turn into something much bigger.
Dramedy.
It is a dramedy.
It is a dramedy.
And who Meghan is Rachel?
Rachel is the paralegal at the firm.
Seductive?
I don't know. Do you think so, Larry?
Something that reportedly made the royal circle uneasy from the very start. Long before the titles, the palace, and the global spotlight, Meghan was best known as Rachel Zane.
As I say, the royal family were totally fine for Meghan to continue in her career. They never asked her to stop acting. It would have been really sensible because then the world maybe would never have got to know the real Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle was much more appealing to people as Rachel Zane than she was as herself.
And that role, it wasn't quiet or reserved. It was confident, emotional, and yes, at times, very intense. The kind of performance that drew viewers in, but apparently raised eyebrows in a world that values tradition and decorum. Multiple reports describe her performance as very bold, even too much for some within the royal circle.
I think trying to put her personality behind a character is the safer route for her because when she shows up to try to be her authentic self, it is a flop. It is cringy. It is, oh no, you didn't. Go say sorry to the people you've hurt.
Not scandalous in a wild sense, just enough to feel a little out of place in an institution built on rules and routines. The idea of stepping into that environment with such a public career history, for insiders, it was already stretching the boundaries. And this is where the story really splits. From a Hollywood point of view, this is normal. It's acting, part of the job.
Do you like your character?
Oh, I love her. I mean,
You don't have to like her, right? I mean,
I don't have to. You know what? I think there's something with any character that you play. You just want to find something that you connect to about them, and you don't have a judgment about it. But I happen to really love Rachel. I love how ambitious she is and savvy, and yeah, she sort of becomes someone that I could see as a friend, which makes it a lot sweeter to play.
But from a royal perspective, it's entirely different. It's about image, reputation, and expectation. Suddenly, Meghan wasn't just an actress, she was being judged through a completely different lens. So now you have a mix. Stories of eye rolls and tension on set, combined with reports that her previous work already raised eyebrows in one of the world's most traditional institutions.
I believe she feels like this is beneath her. She wants to get the big movie starring roles, A-listers. This is not A-lister status to her.
Put them together, and people are asking the same question. Was Meghan Markle ever going to fully fit into the royal world? Or were there signs from day one that she might not belong? And it gets even more intriguing, because it wasn't just the palace reacting. Prince Harry reportedly noticed too. Let's be real for a moment. This is where the story moves from light gossip to serious intrigue. The more you dig, the less this feels like coincidence, and the more it looks like a clash that was bound to happen.
And support each other's decisions.
and it's always got to be on the page, right? It's still the script.
It's still the script. Though we do have we take some liberties with that and ad-lib
You
and
do?
play around a lot. Yeah, and
They
the
let you
writers.
do that?
Yeah, it's a big part of the show. The culture of the show is us getting to play. Yeah.
Wow.
Before the titles, protocols, and polished images, Meghan was making a name for herself in Hollywood. Not quietly, but in the spotlight of a hit show, Suits. And her role? It wasn't just polished or safe. It was emotional, romantic, and yes, memorable in every way. And that's where the tension begins. According to multiple insiders, Meghan's role didn't just get noticed. It caused real concern in the royal circle.
Does everyone get along on Suits?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what people really feel about our show, is that the chemistry that we all have off camera just
Is that
translates.
important?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think and people are always trying to figure out the alchemy of what makes a great show and why it's successful. I think it's almost impossible, but the one key ingredient is you've got to have people who respect each other and get along. I don't think you always have to get along. You can have disagreements, but you have to be able to enjoy each other.
Not rumors, not speculation, genuine unease. Words people don't toss around unless something truly stood out. And what exactly caused all the fuss? It keeps coming back to the same phrase. Very bold. In Hollywood, that's nothing unusual, it's practically standard. But inside a centuries-old institution built on control, image, and tradition...
Did you get a jam?
I got a jam.
Did you?
I got a jam.
You got a jam.
I know. I'm
I did
on
not
the
get a jam.
very... You didn't get a jam?
No, I didn't get a jam.
Shut up.
No jam.
You didn't even get the sprinkles?
I didn't get anything.
I got the sprinkles. I got the whole fucking thing.
I don't have enough followers, I don't think.
No, first of all, you need to get on the list. Hello, everybody.
Jams still happening? Are we still getting jams?
There was the
going
first one and then the apricot. I don't know if there was a new jam.
How was the jam? Be real.
So I didn't open it out of like,
You're treating it like a champagne?
No, it's like in the box.
Because
And her letter to me is in a separate box.
That same word suddenly feels out of place, unfamiliar, almost like a challenge to the carefully maintained image they've spent generations protecting. Then comes the line that really shifts the story. They've never seen anything like that. Think about that. Not shocking globally, not crossing extreme boundaries, but inside the royal bubble, it was unusual, different, something they weren't used to seeing from someone stepping into their world. And that's where the disconnect hits hard. From Meghan's perspective, this was her career, the work she dedicated years to, the thing that gave her visibility.
Being afraid for me, but don't be. Like, it'll be
great.
fine.
That's what the note said?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't believe that. Really? That's what it said? Really? Because I don't believe. Thank you for being afraid of me, but for don't. Notice how she's like always on top of anybody who stands up for her. If she senses an actual ally, send him a jam. I need anybody I can get on my side. I mean, it's good PR from her standpoint, because then she gets somebody to speak well of her, because it's not as many people that speak well of her. So I guess, if you're a nobody, go out there and make a podcast defending Meghan, and you'll probably be in her DMs within a week.
But from the monarchy's perspective, it wasn't just acting, it was image, reputation, optics. Suddenly, those scenes weren't just scenes anymore. They became moments to evaluate, discuss, and quietly judge. Here's where it gets even more intense. This wasn't happening after she had fully joined the royal family. This was during the early stages of their relationship. While she was stepping closer to that world, her past, her professional work, was still out there, visible and unforgettable.
Yeah, Patrick's, of course, asked about Meghan Markle, and watch it. I want you to pay attention too. It feels like he's giving like the bare minimum of support. Like he's supporting her because he has to, because it's his co-star, and it's not going to be good for him to crap on her. So he's just being nice, but I don't know. Tell me if you're getting the read too, that I suspect Patrick is not a huge fan of Meghan as he's playing out to be, or that perhaps people think he might be.
Imagine that moment. You're entering one of the most traditional families in the world, while clips of your performances are circulating online. Not shocking, not extreme, but enough to make some people uneasy in a setting where everything is expected to be controlled, polished, and proper. That's not just awkward. That's a collision of two worlds. Suddenly, the story starts to shift from she had a career to was this ever going to fit? If something as normal as a TV role is already being labeled too bold, what does that say about the expectations placed on her from the very beginning?
Instagram, that your bio, which is the other guy.
I gotta change that.
No, you cannot change it. It'll be bad luck.
Yeah.
You're
Now I got a new show now. We gotta like live in the
No, that is true.
Oh, yeah, it's
so yeah, the other guy from that show that you're watching on that app, because that girl married that prince. So that you wrote when the show was having the moment?
I guess so, yeah.
So this is actually his bio. The other guy from that show that you're watching on that app, because that girl married that prince. Kind of funny, probably partly true.
And here's where it starts to feel unfair. On one hand, Meghan was doing her job, acting, playing a role, creating chemistry with a co-star, something literally every actor does. On the other hand, she's stepping into a world where the exact same behavior is suddenly seen as questionable. And that clash, it sets the stage for all the tension that followed.
Of course, we know that Suits is now one of Netflix's biggest hits in old episodes, and arguably, as her Hollywood dream has taken another brutal blow, it remains her only entertainment industry success story.
So what was she supposed to do? Erase her past? Pretend it never happened? Apologize for something that was completely normal in her industry? And yet, that's kind of what ended up happening. Because not long after, she stepped away from it all. Acting, Hollywood, the career she worked years to build, gone, just like that. And that choice is where the story gets even more layered.
Growing speculation that Meghan Markle may return to the Suits comeback. The creator, Aaron Korsh, has said he is open to old stars returning to the show's Los Angeles set spin-off.
Some people saw it as a fairy tale sacrifice, leaving one life behind for love, a new chapter, something bigger. But others saw it differently. They saw it as a warning sign, pressure, a signal that things didn't sit right. Especially when you hear comments like, "Women don't give up their jobs for a marriage anymore." That single line flips the story.
Didn't get anything.
I got the Sprinkles. Yeah, the whole fucking thing.
I don't have enough followers, I don't think.
No, I
love this guy. That is such another shady thing to say. And he does have a pretty decent amount of followers, more than this podcast has. This podcast has 53,000 subscribers. He's got 3 million. You'd think like all her Suits co-stars trying the jam out would actually be kind of sweet. And Meghan apparently doesn't give enough.
Now, it's not just about whether the royal circle was uneasy. It's about whether Meghan had to reshape herself to fit into a system that wasn't really built for someone like her. And the more you think about it, the more it starts to feel like a lose-lose situation. If she stayed the same, she was too much. If she changed, she gave up the thing that made her unique. So which choice was ever going to work? And this is where the story starts to feel less like gossip and more like a slow realization. Maybe, just maybe, this was never going to be a perfect fit.
Did she ever say anything about the bio?
No, never. No. But I'm sure I got an eye roll somewhere.
If I see you change it, it'll be like a very sad day.
Literally yesterday or 2 days ago, I was like, I have to change that. I have to change
You
it. So
think?
it's going to have to change soon. Yeah, it's going to go.
Because when you have to adjust your past, your career, your identity just to be accepted, is that really acceptance? Or is it just adaptation? And just when you think the tension couldn't get more personal, it does. Because while most reactions from the royal family come through insiders and secondhand stories, there's one person who didn't stay silent. One person who actually saw those scenes and had a very real, very human reaction. And that reaction, it wasn't admiration, it was regret. If there was ever a moment that turned this whole situation from speculation into something undeniably real, this is it.
Yet another podcast appearance from a Suits alum who is speaking about Meghan Markle. Well, he's not even really speaking. He's, of course, asked about Meghan Markle. Anybody on Suits, nobody seems to actually care to ask interesting questions. It's always, so Meghan Markle.
Because while much of the palace reaction has been described through reports and insiders, Prince Harry did something very different. He expressed how he truly felt about what he saw. He confirmed it himself. In his memoir, Spare, he openly admitted that he watched Meghan's scenes from Suits and then immediately wished he hadn't. Not joking about it, not brushing it off, not framing it as harmless curiosity. He called it a mistake. Pause for a second, because that one admission shifts the tone of everything we've been hearing. This isn't just speculation from insiders. This isn't gossip. This is the man who was dating her at the time, the man who would later marry her, seeing those scenes and feeling uncomfortable enough to admit it publicly. He literally said he didn't need to see such things. And suddenly, all those earlier reports about the scenes being too much don't sound exaggerated. They sound consistent.
I mean, so I'm not going to ask you annoying Meghan Markle questions because you get asked
You're going to, okay, go.
your whole life.
Curious to see how you do this. Okay, good, go.
No, you have no idea how I'm going to do this.
No, I don't. That's
Okay.
fine.
So I don't like being annoying, but I will ask you this. Has she ever written you a handwritten note?
In my life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Harry himself had that reaction, it's easy to imagine how those same scenes might have landed with the rest of the royal family, a group known for valuing tradition, discretion, and control over public image. And the way he described it, not casual, not neutral. He used language that made it clear how intense it felt. Almost like he was witnessing something he wasn't supposed to see. Something uncomfortable. Something that crossed a personal boundary. And here's where it gets really interesting. From Meghan's perspective, those scenes were just part of her job. A role, a performance, something she left behind when she moved into a completely different world.
P. Dina, look, I know that this is something that Meghan wouldn't want to do in so many ways. However, it is increasingly becoming likely, I think, that this does end up happening, because I'm not saying immediately they want to launch the Suits spin-off, make sure it's a hit, etc., etc. But if she wants to keep Netflix sweet, if she wants to retain some sort of deal with Netflix, and Suits is the only thing that is a success, that may be where she has to go.
But from Harry's point of view, that wasn't just acting. That was real enough to trigger a reaction. And that difference in perception is exactly where the tension lives. Because how do you reconcile that? How do you explain to someone that something personal to them wasn't personal at all? And more importantly, how do you build a relationship when those kinds of moments are lingering in the background? Because let's be honest, that kind of discomfort doesn't just vanish overnight. It lingers. It shapes conversations. It shapes expectations. It shapes how people see each other. And when you put all of it together, the reported concerns, the pressure to adapt, the decision to leave acting, it starts to look less like a smooth transition and more like a series of compromises. Compromises that may or may not have been sustainable over time. Fast forward to today, because here's where things take a turn that feels almost surreal. After everything, leaving the royal family, stepping away from that world entirely, Meghan Markle is reportedly returning to acting, back to Hollywood, back to the spotlight, back to the exact space that once caused so much tension. And people are confused. This isn't just a career move, this is a full circle moment that sparks a very uncomfortable question. If that world caused so much friction before, why return now? Why go back to the same industry that was described as too bold? The same environment that reportedly made the royal circle uneasy? The same kind of work that even Harry himself admitted he struggled to watch? It doesn't add up easily. And that's why the narrative is shifting. Not just a comeback, not just a fresh start, but something more strategic. Because when someone leaves one of the world's most powerful institutions, only to step back into the environment they once left, it naturally raises questions about intention. Was the royal chapter the ultimate goal? Or just one step in a bigger journey? And that's where it gets uncomfortable again. Depending on your perspective, this could be seen as reclaiming independence, or re-entering a space that guarantees headlines, attention, and relevance. Fair or not, one thing is undeniable. Every move Meghan makes sparks discussion. From behind-the-scenes eye-roll stories, to royal unease over past roles, to a prince openly admitting he regretted watching certain scenes, this isn't a simple story. It's layered, it's complicated, and it keeps evolving. Now that she's stepping back into the Hollywood spotlight, one question hangs in the air louder than ever. Is this a return to who she really is? Or just another chapter in a story designed to keep the world watching? If you've got thoughts on this, drop them in the comments. Let's hear what you think. If this breakdown opened your eyes, hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to see it.